am joined by Bitstamp's Miha Grcar, Head of Business Development, and Oliver von Landsberg-Sadie, CEO at BCB Group. Welcome to you both.
Thank you very much, Nisa. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
You recently announced a partnership for providing exchange deposits and withdrawals in GBP. How did that come to be?
Want to take that one?
Yeah, it's been a pretty long road. I think first, the broader context is that banking in crypto has been a pain in the neck since day one. And the conversation between myself and Oliver and then both of our companies started well over a year ago. But as things stand, things take time. So I think we're both pretty excited to finally get this one off the ground.
Oliver?
Indeed. I think my story probably begins in 2017 when I was just trying to get some GBP deposits into Bitstamp, and the only way you could get there is via Euro and USD. And this is for our brokerage side of the business. It's nice to have traced the story to this point where we're actually providing that wholesale, for their complete corporate and personal client base. It's been a long journey in the making, but we're excited that we're live now.
Anyone in the industry knows how difficult gaining and maintaining banking relationships has been. How have these issues evolved and been resolved for Bitstamp over the years?
Well, banking being an issue is an understatement in itself. It was extremely hard to get banking, especially in the early days when Bitcoin itself was viewed in a very antagonistic fashion by the banks. But I must say that over the years, as the industry grew and became more mature, the easier it got. And now I think with a lot of institutional interest as well as more mature regulatory environments, banking is becoming easier. Now, when I say easier, this needs to be viewed from a longer time period. It is still not simple, not by far not simple, but it is day and night compared to, let's say, early 2014, 15.
Quite right. Yes, there's a constant pressure from the mainstream established banks who are not fans of this industry. There's a growing thread of banks who recognize the opportunities here and who understand that the risks perceived by the larger banks are actually manageable and in some cases more manageable, because in this crypto space we've got high traceability of the underlying assets, which you just don't have in analog markets.
Bitstamp was early on involved in regulation. Has that impacted volume or customers?
I wouldn't necessarily say that it impacted volumes or customers. I would say that it impacted the way we are being perceived by the industry, as well as the banking partners or more mature new entrants to this space. That's for sure. It certainly helped establishing banking rails. And today, I think Bitstamp is one of the best banked exchanges in the space. But that still does not mean that you win business simply by being regulated. We are competing against regulated as well as unregulated businesses and products, ease of use, user friendliness, good service, and also reliability and stability is what gets you reputation and business ultimately.
Oliver, what have the challenges specifically for GBP processing versus USD, Euro, etc. been?
So GBP is a special beast because the expectation among people sending and receiving GBP is that it's instant. People are used to paying their friends and their friend receiving the money instantly, which is not really the case for Euro and USD. So in an environment where we're trying to control risks, we have to provide that real-time service while at the same time being able to analyze and monitor those transactions. When you're processing dollar and euro, there is a small lag which buys you time to understand, is this transaction legit? You can put it through your ops teams or some kind of AI-based automation to understand those risks. But the biggest challenge in enabling GBP is making sure that you're still processing all of those transactions safely at scale while maintaining that kind of real-time component.
And in second to that, looking from the exchange and coming from the exchange perspective, every currency has their own little domestic particular system that it's backed by. So in for euros, you have SEPA. For GBP, you have the UK banking system, which is completely unique. Then you have domestic US transfers and banking system, which is a world in its own. And then you have the huge international wire system of intermediary banks, which is another layer of complexity. So sending money back and forth is really a complex undertaking, which the customers ultimately don't really see on a day-to-day.
We recently saw announcements that other US exchanges have partnered with large US banks. How do you think things are changing now? And where are the boundaries between regulators and commercial banks?
I can take this one, Oliver. So these types of conversations don't just happen overnight. So if it's in the news today, this is probably a result of a very long conversation and a really long due diligence process from both sides, especially the banks. If you look from the banking perspective, huge institutions, they move slowly. And a move like this does signal change to the industry. And I can say that this does also spark additional interest and ease and pave the way for other exchanges to get banked by other tier 1 banks. Now, how regulatory and banking are proxies for enforcement of regulations, I think that used to be the case in the early days, where the banks were reluctant to take on crypto exchanges because they were worried about their banking licenses being taken away by the regulatory bodies. So in a way, exchanges were regulated through banks acting like a proxy for the regulators. Now, I think this is changing because exchanges, for example, themselves are regulated financial institutions. So there is a much higher level of trust and transparency in this space, and also more maturity, which definitely helps.
Yeah, I want to echo that and say one of the main outputs of what Miha is talking about is that these banking channels become wider. More money is able to flow because regulatory oversight is greater, and those institutions and exchanges like Bitstamp, who are really leading the way here from a regulatory point of view, recognize that the only way to get those channels super wide, to get money flowing efficiently and without friction, is to be friendly with the banks and the regulators, not to be opposed to them.
So what's next for both of you?
Oh, this is an exciting one for us. And Miha, if I may take the liberty of announcing a one of a kind. So Bitstamp and BCB will be launching a payments network called Blink. Blink is a network that enables BCB counterparties to settle with each other real time, 24/7 across multiple currencies. This is something that we hope will unblock those slower USD and Euro, especially the Euro and non-GBP currencies, unlock those potentials so that those clients can settle 24/7 and really take advantage of those market opportunities on Bitstamp.
That's exciting.
Yes. And for Bitstamp, we're just in the process of launching additional trading pairs. So we've listed GBP pairs last week with the support and help from Oliver and BCB. Just today, we're launching our PAX pairs, and shortly we'll be also introducing Stellar Lumens, as well as other cryptocurrencies later in the year. And to enable liquidity and money to flow through, initiatives like Blink are going to be one of the central focal points of development for us as well.
Well, we're looking forward to that. Thank you both so much for being here today.